Okay, getting back with you, National University Academy students, economics, Unit 1, Chapters 1 and 2, picking up where I left off. Discussion of free enterprise, command economies, capitalism, self-interest, invisible hand, Adam Smith, and the like. Continuing with microeconomics. Microeconomics can be the study of large corporations. Now, even though micro means little bitty, micro small, think of microscope. You look at little things under the microscope. Microeconomics can be the study of a large corporation because it's a single actor. It's one company. Macroeconomics would be the study of unemployment in the United States, or the GDP of gross domestic product of India. Would be a larger picture. So again, microeconomics can be the study of large corporations, households, individual consumers. Food, clothing, and shelter are all examples of needs. By definition, an entrepreneur is a risk taker. One of the things we talked about earlier was that entrepreneurs have to get together the funds from investors and then go out and try to drum up interest in their product or service. And when they do that, they take an enormous amount of risk because they get the loans and they get the money together and with a promise that there will be some return on that investment. And of course, the investor is taking a risk and the business owner is taking a risk. That's called entrepreneurship. It is the lifeblood of a capitalist economy, of a free market economy, and it is what makes many countries very successful. And we'll come back to that in a moment. Let's see. Economic system in which the basic economic questions are answered by the government planner is the command economy. In command economies, the government, just think of they command you, they tell you what to do. So in a command economy, the government sets the agenda. The government answers the basic questions of what the economy should be, how the economy should be set up. Making the best use of scarce resources is called efficiency. And a last note there, you're going to be asked to briefly describe Adam Smith's theory of the invisible hand. How does this theory operate in the U.S. economy? And you need to provide 3 examples and explain your rationale. Now, if you go to page 25 in your textbook, you're going to see several examples, or you're going to see a description of this, and of course, you're going to see mention of the invisible hand in Adam Smith's philosophy. He wrote The Wealth of Nations, and let me just go ahead and read a little bit of that. Let's see here, starting on page 25. Self-interest. How does the market regulate economic activity? One of the first people to explain this process of market regulation was Adam Smith, 1723 to 1790, a Scottish economist and philosopher. In 1776, Adam Smith published his ideas in the book An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations, often just shortened to the Wealth of Nations. He contended that when the government is not involved in the economy, the market is driven pure market, by self-interest, the impulse that encourages people to fulfill their needs and wants. Great idea, this idea that naturally people will set up an economy based on their own needs and wants. Sounds nice. As nice as communism does, right? That if we just set it up so that that will balance will level the playing field, and there'll be no poverty because there'll be a governmental organization that'll eliminate the upper class and feed a strong middle class. Sounds all nice, and bring the worker to a higher status. And just like the idea of unfettered capitalism will lead to ultimate prosperity for all, doesn't quite work out. Just like communism, this idea of the proletariat gaining power and somehow solving all the world's problems doesn't work out either, because the Politburo, like the champions of the free market who tend to hoard the money at the end of the day, end up doing the same thing to the lower classes. Although some people believe in self-interest, the self-interest leads individuals to ignores the needs of others, Smith argued that self-interest benefits all of society by helping the economy grow. According to Smith, in a market exchange, each person attempts to gain the greatest possible advantage from the transaction, while individuals work to meet their own needs and wants. However, self-interest acts as an invisible hand that also leads them to do what is best for society, even if they are unaware of how their actions may benefit others. This is true, and you see it all the time. You can do things altruistically, that is because you want to go out and help people, but a lot of times the basic strength of a market isn't because somebody is going out saying, I want to feed the poor. If you're giving somebody a job because you want to own a factory and make something, well, you're giving them a job so they can eventually feed their family. Your goal was, as an entrepreneur, wasn't to think, oh, how can I help people feed their families? Your goal was to say, I want to make planes, jets, computers. I want to have a service. I want to, whatever your business is. In turn, because you're providing jobs, you allow the infrastructure of your country and the families in these communities to build up, form networks, and pay for things and be consumers, and so all that can work out in the end. It's not always quite as idyllic as it sounds in Smith's model, however. But how can self-interest benefit others? Suppose that you have a job as a newspaper carrier. Why do you accept this job? Here's 3 scenarios. This is good. So you believe that everyone deserves a newspaper? Very altruistic. Oh, yes, everyone should be reading. This is very important. That'd be an example of an altruistic kind of I care about my fellow man reason. Here's another one. It is a good newspaper and more people should read it. Well, you love your newspaper. You take pride in your product. That's another good reason, right? But again, it sounds a little goody two-shoes, but here's what Adam Smith might propose. You are paid to deliver the newspaper. That's your core value, right? So you're paid to deliver it. Well, that's my self-interest. I want to get paid so I can do something with that money to help myself and my family. And maybe I just want to spend it on whatever I want to spend it on. I'm going to go gamble it away or drink it away, whatever I want to do. But the point is that it's self-interest. But in the end, no matter which of those 3 was your reason for getting the job, you're still benefiting the community in all 3 ways, see? So probably your answer is C. You deliver newspapers because you're paid to do so. At the same time, however, newspaper delivery makes it easier for people to learn about the world and community events. Thus, your self-interest benefits others and society. So this is a good example of how Adam Smith's ideas are spot on. Smith believes that government involvement in the economy conflicts with self-interest and limits the ability of the invisible hand to regulate the markets. Suppose that the government sets a limit on how many newspapers you could be paid to deliver each day. Would you try to sell newspaper subscriptions to people who moved into houses along the route? Probably not, because once you reached a maximum number of deliveries, additional subscribers would offer you no personal benefit. It would not be in your best interest to expand service. The government policy, therefore, effectively would have limited paper circulation, reducing the benefits to you and society as a whole. So we're going to get into incentives, the whole idea of mixed economy a little bit more, which is really the reality of even the most robust capitalist markets. Their strength comes from that mixed economy, because you can't have successful farms, you can't have successful services that provide social and civic services like military, police, and you can't even get food into your produce section unless you have, from time to time, government subsidies bailing out the farms. These things are the natural tendency that Smith kind of overlooks in his Wealth of Nations, that in our self-interest, if my self-interest is to put my competitor out of business, I don't care if he can't get food to the next guy. So it'd be interesting to discuss that a little bit more. I'd like to hear your ideas and discuss it a little bit more in class. So call, email, and get back to me. I'll be posting these on YouTube, and talk to you soon. Bye.